So, we're going to talk about Psalm 1's Cult of Ye. Psalm 1 is a rapper from Chicago. I would have guessed Minneapolis if I was guessing because she was on Rhymesayers. This one, I'm a little out of my depth in terms of analysis because I've listened to the song a few times and there's bits that I don't get. I'm never going to read Genius to get the interpretation because that's cheating. The whole point of it is to come up with it yourself. But we will. They don't have the lyrics transcribed. There's no Genius option. Does anything have the lyrics? Fuck it. I'm going to mute the video and do it from the video. The video will be in the description, but here we go. This is a song that she put out. It's a Lucy. It wasn't on an album. Her albums, by the way, if we want to get into someone, she put out that album on Rhymesayers, and then Rhymesayers kind of quietly dropped her. And I think later on she had some beef with them, especially around when there was some shit going down. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I know like 3 rappers at least that I can think of at once turned out to be not great around women. The details are hazy and I'm not looking it up, but she definitely enjoyed starting a boycott of Rhymesayers. I can't give up Brother Oli. He's no longer on Rhymesayers though, so I think we're fine. I do like Atmosphere. Oh, fucking Doom. MF Doom put out an album on Rhymesayers. There was some idea and abilities. There was great stuff. Psalm 1 was one of them. She then made some other albums. The ones that I love that I'm going to recommend to you are Free Hugs, Hug Life, and Psalm 1 Loves You, Polly, Psalm 1 Loves You. Let's get into Cult of Ye. Do Kanye Cult got a wardrobe? Do Kanye Cult got a Morse code? I ain't got it. Do Kanye Cult got a mascot? Do Kanye Cult get me mad part? That's just a rhyme, isn't it? But she can't call it, but yeah. So basically, this was 5 years ago, 6 years ago possibly. Yeah, it's February 2020, so we're looking at 6 years. What was Kanye up to in February 2020? Kanye, well, he would already have been wearing the MAGA hat. He would have already been, in February 2020, Kanye was expanding his Yeezy partnership. People still buy and wear Yeezys, by the way. He was distancing himself from Donald Trump and then tried to run for president. Remember that? Basically, she's talking about the cult around Kanye. Do they have a wardrobe? The backpack and the polo shirt? It used to be. Do they have a code? Do they have a mascot? Their mascot is Kanye. Well, so what is the Kanye cult? A cult of personality around someone is when someone is that successful, they still have fans no matter what they do. And Kanye's done some mad shit. He went on InfoWars, I think it was, with a stocking over his head next to a neo-Nazi going, oh, there's a lot that I love about Hitler. He put out a song called Heil Hitler. I've never listened to it. He put out t-shirts with swastikas on them. He's not the greatest guy ever, but people still will listen to it. People still bought Vultures and listened to it. People still work with Kanye. It's mad to me that it's just because someone's that famous that they get a free pass, and people will still buy their stupid, ugly shoes. You know, I was a Kanye fan. Let's be real. I loved College Dropout. I loved his production work for Talib Kweli and some of the Jay-Z stuff. And when Late Registration came out, I was like, fuck this guy. I came around, but I remember Diamonds from Sierra Leone, Diamonds in the Sky. I just feeling wow, this is really money driven now. Not that there was hints at that with early Kanye, but it was more about there was that track, Are We All Self-Conscious, I'm Just the First to Admit It. That one, he did it on Def Jam as a poem, and it was probably, he didn't write it necessarily. I know Rhymefest wrote a lot of his early stuff, including Jesus Walks. We'll talk more about ghostwriters in a later video, hopefully. Yeah, I came around on Late Registration, Graduation. I think Yeezus was the point he lost me again. I love to watch The Throne, but Yeezus was felt like it was ripping off Saul Williams and POS and other rappers like that. They're not alone, but it's why is Kanye coming into this lane? He does not believe these things he's saying because of the way he acts. Anyway, let's talk more about this song. It is about Kanye though. So, see, I've never been cool, but I've been cool enough. Rapping like this gave Psalm 1 the plug. What is the plug? I've heard about that. So the plug in slang, hook you up. Drug dealer. Right, so it's if you're trying to find drugs, you need a plug, a drug dealer who can hook you up. Okay, so that's what that means. So rapping like this meant that she got connected to people, but I understand the mecca of the superficial. Right, so Kanye's superficialness, he talks about it on that early album, like we're all self-conscious, I'm just the first to admit it, of buying things before he could afford it. Once he could afford it, that went out the window. And it was just like, I've got all the stuff now, look how cool it is. I fly on an expensive plane. She then says, pink wristband, let me through, what's the issue? Someone is not straight. I think she's polyamorous and bi, whatever. Likes a lot of different people. It's fine. I can never clout chase. I could barely clout crawl. Do this shit without your fuck it, call me outlaw. Silly me to think I did it all from the rapping. She's an outlaw presence. She's an outsider looking in. Part personality / part capping. Oh yeah, capping is lying. So she's just talking about herself in this moment. I capping. I can hold on to the sinking ship, and I don't care what you think of it. Holding on for the brink of it, that's the fun part. Glorify the grip on bullshit, that's the dumb part. So I think it's like, she can see, if you've got pattern recognition, you can see the fact that Kanye is slipping. And where has this path led us before? It's on. I was talking about predators in entertainment, I guess. Puff Daddy, R. Kelly. People have got so big that they just like stopped giving a shit about other people. Look at powerful men. It's always fucking men, by the way. Although you've got that fucking Ghislaine Maxwell, so it's not always men, but it is often. And she was serving a powerful man's desire to oppress people. It's not really about sex. It's about hurting other people. And it's about cruelty, and it's about putting your power over on someone else. Okay. R. Kelly messed with kids. This next bit is censored, but she says something, and it's censored. 2 of my faves, so I stay with my sensei. Could it be Puff Daddy did something? Could it be about R. Kelly? But we know those characters are out there, like big figures in rap who are predators. And the light went off. Never know when you got to cancel the icons. Took my pants off, but my man keep the lights on. I'm not quite sure what that line is. Some of the lines I don't mean, but we do occasionally have to cancel the icons, and you're cancelled, by the way. Fuck it, you're cancelled too. Optics, fuck it. I'm cancelled. I'm the first one cancelled. She's just having a joke here about cancel culture, because I think we've all basically it meant we need to stop listening to this person. They're fucking useless. This person is no longer speaking for the community. They're no longer speaking for us. Fuck them. R. Kelly got cancelled because he fucked kids. That's cancel culture. You got a problem with that. You got a problem with morals and ethics, I guess. Good on you. Well done for that. And if there is an actual problem, there's an actual predator, or just a horrible guy like Louis C.K. taking his dick out at people and wanking at them. He always asked. Fair play to Louis C.K. He always asked. What? That's chorus again. It's the same chorus. We heard it. I'm obsessed with the way people lurk on it. Not impressed with the fake-ass words on it. Bitch, your timeline reeks of the worst vomit. But go on, let them cook for the retweets, skeet skeet. So people talking about things online in order to just get clout, get retweets, get arguments going. And it's been made worse, by the way, because Elon Musk made it so that on Twitter, or X as he's decided to call it, you now get paid for engagement. So people since then have actively talked more about migrants, about racist beliefs, as if they believe in them, in order to get people arguing, or just get the racists on side going, yeah, we believe it. Fair play. That's good, isn't it? The far right are getting their propaganda done for them by people who just want a little bit of money. And because, as far as I can see, the far right ideology is just give me more money. Anyway, here's the thing. Freak of the Week is a sponsorship. The way that the internet changed into people, attractive people without necessarily ideas dancing. There's nothing wrong with that. Who doesn't like attractive people? But it is a shame that is how the internet went. Let's move on. Fuck me in the ass at the condom slip. They give top access to any kind of script. Long as we lift up the monolith, this is too deep for me. I don't understand those words. I'm sorry, Sam. They don't give a flying fuck who got fucked while flying. We understand that though. 5-star lying. Look at all the good girls trying. That line hits because there are a lot of people that wouldn't necessarily be wearing push-up bras and like dolling themselves up for the videos. They might just turn it on like I just fucking have. I've just come back from the office. I've just turned the video on. I haven't even framed it nicely. Anyone could do that, but the next line, we get rewarded for the bad shit. I don't give a fuck if you were bad, bitch. I think we're on the same page there. Had shit popping on the no. Oh shit. Had shit popping on the love, so I know the people fucking with me. We don't need the fucking validation of the big leagues. Can't do nothing to convince me. That's a nice mental place to be in. She doesn't need to be a famous rapper and have everyone know who she is, like a Nicki Minaj. She's aware that like people who do listen to her, like me, appreciate her for being one of the most intelligent and good rappers that there is. She says, go to church, but that yay speak can miss me. I mean, that's obviously a reference to his Jesus is Lord and his Jesus walk stuff. Like, I'm an atheist, but I appreciate that like religions have at their heart a message of love, and that people can get a lot out of them, but there are people who will manipulate your religion. And if you think that being a Christian is just being on the same team as all the other Christians, you have misunderstood. I hope that you wake up. We're bringing woke back for 2026, by the way. We're not calling it woke, we're calling it not a news. So if you would like to be not a news, you can, sorry, fuck me. If that stays in, I'd be amazed. It might stay in. Okay, she said, these N-words make great music. Don't fall for the okie doke. Mad people are talented. I don't want to hear him talk though. Just because you're good at making music, which Kanye obviously was, like Get By was a fucking classic. He took that Nina Simone sample, he flipped it beautifully. He flipped that Otis Redding sample on Otis. There's incredible rapping on there, but he was a fool. For most of his adult life, do Kanye cult. We got the repetition. What I want to do is bring up Kanye's apology. Here it is. Okay, so let's read through this real quick, and then I'm going to reset my computer and get on with my life. Anyway, so Kanye's apology. I wonder what I'm going to leave in for this one. I'm in too good a mood, and I'm forgetting this is going on the internet. To those I've hurt, 25 years ago, I was in a car accident that broke my jaw and caused injury to the right frontal lobe of my brain. That's from Through the Wire, Through the Lip, that. He talked about it Through the Wire. So it was like the origin story of Kanye West was like this guy was in a car accident. Thank God he's alive. Now he can make beats. At the time, the focus was on the visible damage, the fracture, the swelling, and the immediate physical trauma. But the deeper injury, the one inside my skull, went unnoticed. Comprehensive scans were not done, neurological exams were limited, and the possibility of a frontal lobe injury was never raised. It wasn't properly diagnosed until 2023. That medical oversight caused serious damage to my mental health and led to my bipolar type 1 diagnosis. Fair enough. I've also got a bipolar type 1 diagnosis. I understand. So he's going to talk about bipolar disorder now, and we're going to talk about that. Bipolar disorder comes with its own defense system, denial. When you're manic, you don't think you're sick. You think everyone else is overreacting. You feel like you're seeing the world more clearly than ever, when in reality, you're losing your grip entirely. I've been manic. I understand that. I had psychosis. I felt like songs were talking to me directly and there were messages to decode. Interesting where we are now, isn't it? Am I manic now? I would say no. When I am manic, I get very pressured speech. It feels like a train coming very quickly. And if anyone interrupts me, it's like, the goddamn train has crashed into the mountain. The fact that I can take a breath now, and I'm editing these down, so sometimes it doesn't feel that way. But I can't, when I'm manic, I wouldn't be able to stop. And I'm incessant, and I'm not aware when I'm boring people. And also, I get up at 4 a.m. and walk around the 24-hour Asda because I feel like I've got so much energy that like sleep is impossible. I've been sleeping 6-7 hours a night. Don't you worry about me. When you are manic, the denial of being manic is huge. You're like, I'm fine, I'm perfectly fine. People are just trying to put me down. So that is true. He goes on. Once people label you as crazy, you feel as if you cannot contribute anything meaningful to the world. It's easy for people to joke and laugh it off when in fact this is a very serious debilitating disease you can die from. Yeah, I mean, suicide rate is high for bipolar because you get depressed as well. You get mania when you're up and depression when you're down. And depression just feels like a baseline because it makes sense. Look at how depressing the world is. The twats are in power. I should have said twats, not noses. Twats are in power, and there's wars constantly. There are people dying. It feels correct to be depressed, but you might feel like you don't have any use in society and that you want a way out. There's no point in continuing under those circumstances. That isn't the case. We need more good people than we need more bad people. According to the World Health Organization, Cambridge University, people with bipolar disorder have a life expectancy that's shortened by 10 to 15 years on average, and that would be suicide. And 2 to 3 times higher all-cause mortality rate. I am bad at reading. And a 2 to 3 times higher all-cause mortality rate than the general population. This is on par with severe heart disease, type 1 diabetes, HIV and cancer, all lethal and fatal if left untreated. Also autism and a bunch of other mental health disorders. It's not solely bipolar. And the scariest thing about this disorder is how persuasive it is when it tells you you don't need help. It makes you blind but convinced you have insight. You feel powerless, certain, unstoppable. To an extent, I've got to check on it, and I've got people in my life that also will check on it. That's why people are checking if I'm manic at the moment and making sure I'm getting sleep and are concerned. And it feels like, oh, just let me get on with it to some extent, but I'm also worried about it and making sure I'm getting enough sleep and making sure I'm having a calm evening and making sure I stay grounded and making sure I challenge any weird beliefs that I pick up along the way. And Kanye did not do that. He lost touch with reality, yes, he says here. Things got worse the longer I ignored the problem. I said and did things I deeply regret. Some of the people I loved the most I treated the worst. I definitely did that. I said some awful things to my family while I was manic. I don't remember them now. The brain kind of protects you in that way, but they remember them. So, sorry. You endure fear, confusion, humiliation, and the exhaustion of trying to have someone who was at times unrecognizable. Looking back, I became detached from my true self. Yeah, I feel all that. But this part, in that fractured state, I gravitated towards the most destructive symbol I could find, the swastika, and even sold t-shirts bearing it. One of the Sorry, someone's messaging me. In a bit. Okay, I'll call that guy at 5. Can we have lights? Is that allowed? Can Kanye's cult get some lights? The swastika thing I don't get. I guess he was misled by some fucking awful people. One of the difficult aspects of having bipolar type 1 are the disconnected moments, many of which I still can't recall, that led to poor judgment and reckless behaviour that oftentimes feels like an out-of-body experience. I regret and am deeply mortified by my actions in that state, and am committed to accountability, treatment, and meaningful change. It does not excuse what I did, though. I'm not a Nazi or an anti-Semite. I love Jewish people. I was writing some fucking mad shit when I was manic, and I'm so glad that I was not Kanye West, because I was nobody. I didn't have a job because I just quit it in like a state of psychosis, thinking I was about to become very successful and didn't need a job. I moved back in with my parents, and I had a Twitter addiction at the time that was, I was just constantly typing nonsense. And I used to write in notebooks so that I wasn't putting stuff out into the world. I found those notebooks and I threw them all away because they were fucking nonsense. But Kanye's notebooks were on a public stage and he can't throw them away. We've seen that they're all recorded. So Kanye is in a horrible position. Does it excuse the swastika stuff, the Nazi stuff, putting out a song called Heil Hitler? It's hard to say. It doesn't feel like it does. I didn't become a fucking Nazi when I went manic. I'm surprised anyone is a Nazi. And really, it's because beliefs are going unchecked. Freedom of speech, fine, but if you're thinking some awful things, you need to have a deeper think about why. To the black community, which held me down through all of the highs and lows and the darkest of times. The black community is unquestionably the foundation of who I am. I am so sorry to have let you down. I love us. He let him down like fuck. I remember Beezy on Dead End Hip Hop, whenever they reviewed Kanye's albums, he would just sit there in silence, and then when it would get to him, he would go, I didn't listen to the fucking thing. And fair play, because that was a reaction to the slavery was a choice line that Kanye came out with. And Beezy's reaction to that was, fuck Kanye West, I'm not listening to him. I've been in the same boat. I watched those reviews, though, out of curiosity. And when Beezy would speak up and go, fuck Kanye West, I'm not listening to the guy, I would be like, fair play, Beezy. Where are we? In early 2025, I fell into a 4-month-long manic episode of psychotic, paranoid, and impulsive behaviour that destroyed my life. That destroyed his life. Whatever the Nazi stuff was, that wasn't the destroying his life. This, anyway, we don't know what that was. I don't. As the situation became increasingly unsustainable, there were times I didn't want to be here anymore. I imagine. Having bipolar disorder is a notable state of constant mental illness. Yes. But you can recover from it. I took antipsychotics for years. I went through therapy. You still have to manage it. Like, people are still worried that I'm manic, but I am not manic or depressed all the time. I haven't had a full-on manic episode for years. I've not had a panic attack in years. There is a way out. There's a brighter future, but you do have to manage it. You do have to, unfortunately, when you're excited about new projects, you have to have everyone that you know messaging you saying, are you manic and are you sleeping enough? But while that can seem annoying and you can feel like, shouldn't they just be happy for me? No, they shouldn't. Because if it turns out you are manic and they didn't do anything, fuck. What, they're going to feel awful. I'm going to feel awful. I'm going to be in danger. They're going to be like, why didn't we say anything? So fair play to everyone that did that. And everyone that didn't do that, fair play as well. Because I didn't want to be bothered. Yeah, when you go into a manic episode, you are ill at that point. When you're not in an episode, you are completely normal. And that's when the wreckage from the illness hits the hardest. Yeah, because when you're manic, you don't realise necessarily. And then you sober up. And then you feel shit. Because you've gone on Facebook and written a huge screed that looks insane and goes on forever. You've messaged people incessantly who didn't deserve that. You said really horrible things to people you love. And then you wake up from what can be months. If you've ever seen Bulworth, that's a great film about mania. They never mentions mania, but that guy becomes manic. He's a politician that is about to... Well, he's depressed and he puts a hit out on himself. As soon as he does, he starts telling the truth. And he basically turns manic. He starts speaking in rhyme. He starts getting promiscuous. And he generally isn't sleeping. And then all the way through the film, it's hyping up. The way that film was presented to the public was, what happened if a politician would tell the truth? But the reality is that's a manic episode. He was wearing hip-hop clothes and talking in rhyme. When he wakes up, he's back to the suit, back to the normal methods of speech. And if you have been manic and you watch that film, it's really... You know that phrase, I feel seen? Hitting rock bottom a few months ago, my wife encouraged me to finally get help. I'm sure many people over the years encouraged him to get help. He's not really saying, oh, finally someone said get help. Obviously not. It's just that's what finally landed for him. I found comfort in Reddit forums of all places. I'm reading this off Reddit. Different people speak of being in manic or depressive episodes of a similar nature. I read their stories, and realised that I was not alone. It's not just me who ruins their entire life once a year despite taking meds every day and being told by the so-called best doctors in the world that I'm not bipolar but merely experiencing symptoms of autism. That's interesting. I've heard recently people saying, oh, the most common misdiagnosis for autism is bipolar disorder. People say you're bipolar when you're actually autistic. I'm autistic. I've got a diagnosis of autism. I got it at the age of 41. I'm bipolar. I got a diagnosis of bipolar when I had a massive manic episode at the age of 30. The two things can coexist. People used to think that you couldn't be ADHD and have autism. Now that's a thing, and you're on TikTok or wherever. You're aware that ADHD, they have cutesy names for it, but that's a thing. You can have more than one thing. They're all just descriptions of how your brain works. And to suggest that you can't be bipolar and autistic at the same time is damaging and stupid. And I obviously damaged Kanye because they were just saying, oh, he's autistic, he's not bipolar. And he needed bipolar meds. My words as a leader in my community have global impact and influence. In my mania, I lost complete sight of that. As I find my new baseline, a new center through an effective regime of my medication and therapy, exercise, and clean living, I have newfound much needed clarity. I'm pouring my energy into positive, meaningful art, music, clothing design, and other new ideas to help the world. I'm not asking for sympathy or a free pass, though I aspire to earn your forgiveness. I write today simply to ask for your patience and understanding as I find my way home. With love, Yay. I don't know if he should have signed off with Yay, because the Yay thing seemed to come about with the same timing as all these problems. I would have gone with Kanye, because I miss the old Kanye. You'll have to, the light's gone out again, but fuck it, we're nearly there. He'll have to do a lot to come back from that. I don't know. I'm not here to diagnose or really give a fuck about Kanye West. What I'm here to talk about is that song about him. And that song, Cult of Ye, was about not putting people on a pedestal because you don't know when they're about to slip. Anyone could become a problem at any time. You don't know them. You're looking at a public image, and there might be anything going on behind the scenes. Hero worship is dangerous, with two exceptions. One, VJ, telepathy, and two, Jetty. Apart from that, but always be trepidatious. You don't have to be afraid of like, oh god, what if they turn out to be a child predator? But what if they do? What if Jay-Z, he's in the Epstein files? What if he's a problem? Pusha T's in the Epstein files. We've got to find out. It's not my job. I'm not reading that shit. But some people have to find out what is going on and report back. And we'll. If people need to be cancelled, they need to be cancelled. Cancel culture is not a problem. Some people are awful, and you don't have to listen to them anymore. That's all that is. Some people are twats, and we don't have to listen to twats just because they were successful before. Nicki Minaj, fuck off. This one has been long. What I'd say is, if you've come this far and you've watched this far, why not subscribe? You clearly like it. Come back for more. There's more of this. If you have watched this far and you haven't liked it, the fuck? Bye.